Try to remember your first birthday. Go on. Picture the cake, the candle, the hands clapping. You can't, can you? Not really. You might have a photo of it. You might have a story your mother told you so many times that it feels like a memory. But the actual moment is gone. Not faded, not buried somewhere waiting to be found. Gone, the way a word disappears the instant you forget it was ever on the page. You assume this is because babies are too small to remember anything, too undeveloped, like an empty notebook waiting for someone to start writing in it. But the real answer is far stranger. Your brain was recording. It just couldn't keep what it wrote. This gap has a name. Sigmund Freud called it infantile amnesia back in 1905, and the term stuck because nothing better has come along since. It describes the strange wall almost every human hits when they try to reach back before the age of 3 or 4. Before that wall, there's nothing. Not darkness, not blankness, just an absence so complete you don't even notice it's missing until someone asks you to look for it. Here's the part that should bother you. Babies are not blank. A baby recognizes its mother's voice within hours of being born. A baby can tell the difference between a happy face and an angry one before it can hold up its own head. Babies learn language patterns, emotional cues, the rhythm of the people around them faster than at almost any other point in life. Their brains are not empty. Their brains are working overtime. So why does none of it stick? For decades, the easy answer was that babies simply don't form memories yet. The hippocampus, the part of your brain that files away personal experience, was assumed to be offline, asleep, waiting for some internal alarm clock to switch it on around age 3. Then researchers started looking closer, and the easy answer fell apart. Patricia Bauer, a memory researcher at Emory University, has spent years studying how very young children encode and later lose specific events. Her work shows something unsettling. Toddlers can recall things that happened to them weeks or even months earlier. A 2-year-old can describe a trip to the zoo in real detail. The memory is there, it's just not built to last. Carol Peterson at Memorial University of Newfoundland ran a different kind of study. She tracked children over multiple years, asking them again and again to describe their earliest memory. The results were strange. The memories didn't just fade, they shifted. A child who confidently described a memory from age 4 would, 2 years later, describe a completely different earliest memory, with no awareness that the old one had ever existed. The brain wasn't losing data randomly, it was actively replacing it. So the hippocampus isn't asleep, it's awake, recording and then erasing almost everything it just wrote. Why would a brain do that? The answer sits in how the hippocampus actually grows. In early childhood, it is producing new neurons at a staggering rate, a process called neurogenesis. Paul Franklin, a neuroscientist at the University of Toronto, led a study published in the journal Science in 2014 that gave this process a motive. His team found that high rates of neurogenesis in young mice disrupted the circuits holding existing memories. New cells were wiring themselves into the same neural real estate old memories depended on. The old connections got overwritten before they ever had the chance to become permanent. Picture a city that never stops being rebuilt. Roads torn up and replaced every few weeks, buildings demolished before anyone moves in. You could live there for years and still never recognize your own neighborhood because the map keeps changing under your feet. That is roughly what is happening inside a baby's hippocampus. It isn't failing to record your first steps, your first words the first time you laughed. It's recording all of it and then bulldozing the street it was written on to make room for the next memory and the next and the next. There's something else going on too, something less about biology and more about story. A memory isn't just a recorded event. It's an event wrapped in language, time, and a sense of self. To remember something as mine, you need a me sturdy enough to own it. You need a working sense of past, present, and future. You need enough vocabulary to tag the experience with words you can later retrieve. None of that exists yet in a 1-year-old. The hardware might be running, but the filing system, the part of you that says, "This happened to me on this day and it matters," is still being built. This is why your earliest memories rarely arrive before age 3, and why they almost always cluster around the moment you started forming a real narrative identity. Around the time you started saying, "I want," instead of just wanting. Around the time you started telling yourself the story of your own life as it happened, instead of simply living it. Here's the twist that makes this even stranger. Even the memories you do have from early childhood are unreliable. Studies on childhood recollection have shown that people will confidently describe memories from before age 2 that researchers can prove never happened, pieced together instead from photographs, family stories, and imagination. Your brain doesn't just lose memories from this period, it sometimes manufactures replacements and hands them to you with full emotional conviction, no asterisk attached. So the cake, the candle, the clapping hands. If you do have a flicker of that first birthday, there's a real chance it isn't a memory at all. It might be a photograph your mind quietly turned into a feeling, then mistook for an experience. None of this means your earliest years didn't matter. They mattered more than almost any other stretch of your life. The attachment patterns formed in infancy shape how you handle relationships decades later. The language exposure in your first 3 years predicts vocabulary years down the line. The emotional tone of your earliest environment, calm or chaotic, safe or unpredictable, leaves a fingerprint on your nervous system that outlasts every memory from that time by a lifetime. You are carrying the consequences of years you cannot consciously recall. The architecture survived. The blueprint didn't. Think about that the next time you watch a toddler stumble through a room, babbling at something only they find fascinating. Somewhere inside that small, chaotic brain, a city is being built and torn down in real time. Every experience is being written, and most of it is being erased before it ever has the chance to become a memory anyone will keep. And think about it the next time someone hands you a photo of yourself as a baby and says, "You don't remember this, but it happened." They're right, you don't remember it. You never will, not really. But the version of you in that photo is still in there, somewhere underneath every memory you do have, quietly running the architecture that decided who you'd become. So try again. Picture the cake, the candle, the hands clapping. You still can't see it, but for the first time, maybe you understand why that's exactly how it was always going to be.